Good afternoon, gamers. My name is Cody. Welcome to Esports Talk. I hope you're having a great day. Let's get into this week's Overwatch League news. The first topic that we will be touching on today is the huge meta switch that has fallen upon the league with the transition from a seemingly unbeatable triple tank, triple support setup to something a little more unorthodox. As we see the D.Va, your usual damage per second hero, being dropped for the disruption potential of a Sombra, with her EMP being such an efficient tool and counter ultimate in those team fights where you really need something to disrupt the other team's incoming utility. This drastic meta change has been partially attributed to the increased time frame between Stage 2 and Stage 3, which was a little bit longer than Stage 1 and Stage 2. Another factor was the sheer desperation of the Houston Outlaws and the Los Angeles Valiant to try and rebound from their abysmal 0-7 performances that they had boasted in the Stage 2 Overwatch League. Outlaws' main team comp of Ana, Brigitte, Lucio, Reinhardt, Sombra, and Zarya had an impressive 100% team fight win ratio against the San Francisco Shock, going 5 for 5 in team fights won during that series. Week 3 also gave us a very, very huge upset when the LA Valiant took on title contenders Vancouver Titans, when they took the series 3-1 using the exact same setup that the Houston Outlaws used in the week prior to take on the San Francisco Shock, thus indicating that there is hope and there is a bat signal in the distance that people can see that will potentially bring this oppressive 3-3 setup to a halt and enable teams to really be able to experiment and learn what this game has to offer. Although Sombra is the hero that most have been impressed by, in my opinion, this new meta really allows players like Valiant's Kariv to shine with Ana and really be able to land those skill shots more efficiently on the enemy team, like we saw in his match against Vancouver Titans, especially with those sleep darts that he was landing so consistently on El Dorado. General consensus now is that Ana 3-2-1 is the superior setup for this meta. So when we look back at the meta and what we should be seeing for most teams, we're going to see a typical Ana, Brigitte, Lucio, Reinhardt, Sombra, and Zarya team composition heading into the next weeks. So hopefully we'll get a little more diversity, and who knows, maybe New York won't be on top for the whole time. I'm an Outlaws fan, so I'm a little biased, so go Outlaws. As Week 4 of the Overwatch Pro League has come to a conclusion, let's take a look back at some of the important results that you guys may have missed and would like to catch up on. Thursday, 12th place Chengdu Hunters upset the San Francisco Shock 3-2 with a standout performance from Hunters YXL on Sombra. Of course, it's Sombra. Who else? This hero has been taking the league by storm, and it seems that the theme is, if you can't beat him, join them. If you can't beat the Sombra, you pick up a Sombra, and maybe you'll get some points on the board, as you can see from the Chengdu Hunters picking up that big upset over the Shock, as well as the Hangzhou Spark win close series against the newly resurged LA Valiant 3-2. I watched that series, and I'll tell you what, I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. I truly thought the LA Valiant was going to be able to take that series 3-2, go in the other direction, and potentially jump up into that top 4 spot alongside the Shanghai Dragons and the Vancouver Titans. But the Hangzhou Spark showed clutch performances in that last map, and they came out with the victory. Moving along to Friday, both LA teams, the LA Valiant and the LA Gladiators, picked up wins, with the Valiant keeping their rivals, the Gladiators, just out of a playoff spot by 1 victory. The Gladiators sit at a 4-3 record, and the Valiant sit tied with the field at a 5-2. The Outlaws on that Friday also grabbing their 4th win of the stage by sweeping last place Washington Justice, who are they're having a rough time. Maybe next stage they'll be the new Meta Trailblazers, who knows, but as for right now, they're having a tough time. First place New York Excelsior maintained their position at the top of the standings with an edged-out 3-2 victory in their lone match of the week against the struggling Dallas Fuel. The Dallas Fuel are having a hard time these last couple stages. I think they got 2 wins this stage, so hopefully we'll look and see if they can qualify for playoffs. It doesn't look likely that they'll be able to. New York also has a game in hand against the Spark and the Titans, who are behind them in the standings. They also will have 2 matches leading into Week 5, so you would like to say that their fate is in their own hands. Moving on to Sunday, the San Francisco Shock respond well to their upset loss to the Chengdu Hunters on Thursday with a comprehensive 4-0 thrashing of the London Spitfire, who kind of seem to be the team that if you need a win, that's who you would like to play, is either the Spitfire, the Rain, or the Washington Justice. The Outlaws also picked up an expected win on the day against bottom table Toronto Defiant, finishing the week undefeated with a 5-2 record. They will not have any matches. That is their 7th match, so they are praying and praying that 5-2 will be enough for them to close it out and maintain that playoff position that they currently have. Alrighty, guys, looking ahead to Week 5, last week before playoffs, as I touched on a little bit earlier in the video, New York Excelsior's fate is in their own hands. All they have to do is beat winless Toronto Defiant and mid-table Florida Mayhem, matches you would definitely expect they would win. However, as a unbiased spectator, I love a little controversy and a tiebreaker here and there, so hopefully they'll lose one of those series and we can maybe give a shot into one of those teams that are tied for second place currently. Moving on, Philadelphia Fusion could potentially make the race for the last playoff spot in an interesting one if they were to win both of their matches this week, one of which is against potential first seed contenders, Shanghai Dragons. Speaking of the Shanghai Dragons, they have all but clinched their playoff spot with 2 games on the week. The other game, we already talked about the Philadelphia Fusion match. The other match is against the Guangzhou Charge, which is also a very winnable match. Shanghai Dragons looking very, very good leading into this with a 4-run record. Some people potentially have their eye on them as a dark horse leading into playoffs. And last but not least, Saturday, July 6th, is a match for nothing more than pride between these two bottom table teams, the Reign and, as I touched on before, the Toronto Defiant. Both teams looking for their first win. And a little silver lining to those two teams is one of you guys will be leaving this stage with your first victory. So congratulations on that, I guess. And here we are to the last segment of the video. My favorite part leading into playoffs is your playoff predictions and potential dark horses. This is going to be pure speculation since we still have the Week 5 matches to play off of. This is going to be just kind of filling in those matches with the blanks with wins that you would expect to happen, not including upsets or anything like that. So the first thing that we're going to touch on, obviously, is first place New York Excelsior, dominating this stage so far. Obvious favorites. That could change depending on their matches from Week 5, like we said earlier, but those matches are very, very winnable, so you would definitely expect them to move on to 7-0 and take that first place seed heading into playoffs. Now, in my opinion, I would say one of the teams that has impressed me the most that is a definite dark horse is going to be the Shanghai Dragons. Hit a bit of good form going into the final weeks of Stage 3, winning 3 in a row. Vancouver Titans also looking very strong. Star player Stitch seems to be flourishing under the new Somber role. He later revealed his post-match interview after beating the Gladiators, and he also revealed that he had only been playing this hero for 3 days. 3 days, guys. He's been playing Somber for 3 days, probably one of the most complex heroes in the game, and he was able to perform on that level against a pretty solid Los Angeles Gladiator squad. And another point that we'd like to touch on, as we talked about earlier in the video, the Los Angeles Valiant and the Houston Outlaws were kind of the trailblazers when it came to this new meta switch, so we're really looking to see if they can carry that momentum into playoffs and into Week 5 and see if they can really turn the corner on a team that just started trends and to see if they can actually win some championships and apply their skills in these situations. Dante definitely has found a home on that Sombra, and he seems very, very happy, and a happy Dante is somebody that Houston Outlaws will need going into playoffs once they start playing those top-tier teams. The Valiant also have Kariv. As I said earlier, the man is a glitch when he's using Ana. Definitely someone the other teams will be trying to play around and isolate, so that's going to be a heads-up play to his tanks and to stuff to protect him in those team fights, because he will be a high-profile target on the map when these other teams play them in playoffs, especially with the new meta switch and the reputation that he is building on that Ana. And if you guys have seen him play, like I just said, he is absolutely disgusting and a pleasure to watch, and I could definitely see them making a deep run into these playoffs.